Good evening and welcome to the BBC's News at 6. A minute's silence has marked the official opening of the public inquiry into the Grenfell Tower fire, which killed at least 80 people in June. The chair of the inquiry, retired Judge Sir Martin Moore-Bick, described the blaze as a tragedy unprecedented in modern times. Today, he laid out exactly what the inquiry will aim to do. As well as examining the cause and spread of the fire, it will look at whether the design, construction and refurbishment of the building complied with building regulations. It will also examine the response of the emergency services and the local authority. Relatives of victims and residents of the block listened to the chairman's opening statement, and our special correspondent Lucy Manning was with one of them.
She's still in her
Ahmed Chelat is on a journey to the opening of the Grenfell inquiry today, but he hopes eventually to justice.
But we would like him to find out the cause of fire.
He lost his brother-in-law, sister-in-law, 2 nephews and a niece in the fire. 8-year-old Mehdi, just identified yesterday. They are still waiting to find the remains of 15-year-old Noor Huda.
What do you want the inquiry in the end to be able to do for your family?
Well, we're not going to have them back, that's for sure. But prevent it from happening again. Prevent it from happening again. This is our, it'll be the hope of the family and everybody.
Justice for Grenfell will take some considerable time, and inside the ornate room a few miles from the fire, the chairman, Sir Martin Moore-Bick, opened the inquiry with silence for the victims.
Thank you very much.
But it certainly isn't silence those who escape from this tower want, but questions asked and answers given after so many died and so many lost everything.
The inquiry cannot undo any of that, but it can and will provide answers to the pressing questions of how a disaster of this kind could occur in 21st century London, and thereby, I hope, provide a small measure of solace. I'm well aware that the past few months have turned the world of those who live in North Kensington upside down, and that former residents of the Tower and other local people feel a great sense of anger and betrayal. That is entirely natural and understandable, but if the inquiry is to get to the truth of what happened, it must seek out all the relevant evidence and examine it calmly and rationally.
As he finished, a barrister advising some of the survivors stood and tried to ask a question. The judge didn't stop. The inquiry's broadcast from inside did. Hello and rubbish, some shouted. Well, some of the survivors who were inside are very disappointed with what they heard and particularly with what they didn't hear. Some of the survivors saying that they're not sure they can work with the inquiry. 6 members of Nabil Shoukair's family died in the fire.
He just walked out. It was very disgusting and disappointing.
You would have liked him to have listened to the victims' questions.
Of course, he owes it to us.
Adele Chowie lost 4 relatives in the fire.
We'd also like to reiterate concerns about the absence of a panel, which is the most important issue for bereaved families and residents alike. Finally, the conduct of the chair at the end of the meeting, not addressing our concerns, was deeply distressing and disappointing.
Kareem Moussaoui's uncle died at Grenfell.
But no, naturally, myself and members of the community survivors are not confident in the inquiry, but we're being optimistic and we're trying to keep an open mind. But we're here to make sure that the right questions are being asked.
For Ahmed, his optimism from this morning has gone.
I am disappointed because we went to the inquiry hoping that it's going to ease us a bit, but in fact just make us angry.
But you're not going to withdraw your support for
No,
the
we're
inquiry?
not. We're not going to draw it, we're going to carry on.
3 months on and still so much to do. Only 60 victims identified out of the 80 believed to have died. On housing, 196 households need new homes. Only 3 families have moved into permanent accommodation. On the police investigation, there have been no arrests so far, and 165 other social housing blocks have been found to have unsafe cladding. The inquiry promises answers, but there is so much those who lost relatives and homes at Grenfell still want and need to know.
And Lucy is in North Kensington for us now. Lucy, I get the impression people want answers to big questions about social inequality, for example. I mean, are they going to get that?
Well, no, not on social inequality, not on the wider issues of social housing, and that has upset many of the residents here. The government believes that's for ministers, but that's not enough for some people here. What it will do is it will look quite deeply at a number of issues. The inquiry today released pages of more than 120 questions that they think the inquiry should look at, that will have questions asked of ministers, of the council, of those who built and renovated the building, of the fire service response on the night. I think that will give some comfort to people, but there is still this issue that locals feel it would be good to have a local representative advising Sir Martin. That isn't going to happen. And more than that, some people would like a panel to help Sir Martin so that he isn't making all the decisions himself, and it looks unlikely that that will happen either. He says he will deliver an interim report in Easter, but that is looking quite ambitious. The public hearing's not due to start until the end of this year. For the people who lived in the tower, who felt for so long that they weren't listened to, now they feel this inquiry is their opportunity to be listened to, and that's why they want to get it right.
Lucy, thank you very much.